Hello everyone, today we will talk about transiting Saturn. Saturn passes through the sign of Aries. How Saturn behaves in transit through the sign of Aries depends on the position of the sign of Aries in the individual's birth chart and the house order of Aries. This transit can be more prominent in your life when you have other planets in Aries, transit, or natal, heavy or light aspects to Mars. But the basics are as follows. With the entry of Saturn into Aries, we will initially feel frustrated when achieving our individual goals. We will feel uncomfortable with large displays of individuality or self-centered behavior. Aries is quick and likes to start new things and relies on its impulses, while Saturn, on the other hand, tends to move slowly and steadily to achieve its goals. Saturn itself is calculated and avoids risk, that is, it wants to understand all the details before moving forward. So we can say that with the entry of Saturn into Aries, we will definitely slow things down and stop all new ventures or projects that we want to implement. On the other hand, this planetary position presents a unique dynamic, combining disciplined energy with ambitious energy. Something like a fitness trainer. But for success to be guaranteed and fitness to be achieved, all that is needed is discipline, which is lacking in this constellation. Discipline and having a strong sense of discipline, and being able to stay focused on your goals, even when faced with challenges, will be quite frustrating for Saturn in Aries. Aries is a sign known for its courage, known for its stubbornness. When combined with the discipline of Saturn, we get the result of an individual who is not afraid to face challenges, but also has no patience for the first moment. With this potential to become persistent, it becomes very easy, because by impatience and choosing bad timing, we create a very good basis for Saturn to cooperate with Aries to become self-confident and able to achieve our dreams through persistence and disciplined action. With our strong willpower and determination, we have the ability to overcome challenges and achieve our goals like a true soldier, without much thought but repeating one and the same step over and over again. By harnessing these positive qualities with Saturn in Aries, we will certainly achieve personal growth and success. And when we learn to balance our individual needs with collective responsibilities, we will overcome discomfort and recognize the need for this balanced attention. So, with very simple actions, we will expand our potential for personal development, and if we do not do this, otherwise we will unintentionally limit ourselves. As we have already mentioned, Saturn in Aries works very well, and when this is the case, we are willing to put in the effort to become healthier, more disciplined and more moderate. Reforms and efforts to strengthen, build, or rebuild structures are likely in the areas of independent activities, initiative, self-employment, health, appearance and self-image. In these 2.5 years that Saturn brings us, it is better to look at which of these things need improvement or are holding us back, and what we will do now to correct these things. In most cases, Saturn will structure Aries' reaction quite a bit, which will result in a somewhat restrained or controlled form of self-expression. It will respect but also soften the energies of Aries, putting a focus on excess. We will become more critical of the sentence "me first" or "express your true self" attitude because Saturn considers this to work against us at all costs. Generally speaking, Saturn in Aries is actually cringing from excessive self-importance. On a personal level, Saturn will want to impose boundaries and restrictions and make sure that the rules are strictly followed. Plans and things that we are no longer happy with, that have no weight, or that are not realistic and feasible will be discarded. Easily impatient, Aries will fight this idea, but Saturn has a technique ready, and will press the pause button by instilling self-doubt. This cautious nature of the energy dynamic will bring a sharpening of instincts and impulses. Saturn comes with a reality check, and this will initially seem intense, even unfair. If the whole story in the chart is about our work, our families, our relationships, our mental health or our body's health, any area of life, Saturn's reminder that we are not doing well will seem rude. It is then that we see Saturn as a strict authoritarian, and we resent it the most. This perception is most likely to occur at the very beginning of a Saturn transit. Later, when and if we begin to see Saturn as a helpful coach, these guidelines, lessons, and rules will be easier to digest. Aries areas in our charts are places where we find initiative and motivation, but also places where we are impatient, impulsive, and too fast to truly enjoy ourselves. In these areas, we are good at starting, but not at finishing. For example, in our pursuit of living our truth, we inadvertently trample on the liberties of others. The transit of Saturn in Aries will empower us to recognize and solve these self-centered behaviors. It will give us control over our actions and their consequences. On the world stage, Saturn as a representative of authority, enforcer of laws, rules, and regulations. When it is in Aries, it will experience a revolt of fiery assent against these areas. Although, as we have stated, Saturn functions well in Aries, unrest or distrust when it comes to law enforcement and applying pressure will not be lacking. Long-standing laws and regulations that apply pressure will also be challenged. Aries with its fighting energy will resist, or at least try to oppose Saturn's grounded and more practical nature. Aries who is in a better position here will want to fight, and will cause a rise in fierce emotions, but due to its impatience and lack of planning, it will also lose fights because Saturn will take a more methodical and practical approach. Saturn will not give much space to the Aries' fierce emotions, but will follow logic, structure, and order. As such, it will help societies create more sustainable products and ventures while using Aries' innovations in combination with its grounded, responsible nature. It will slow down the emergence of these new innovations in favor of innovations that already have a proven track record, and give a greater push towards sustainability and support and businesses and practices that consider long-term consequences. It will bring people a sense of increased responsibility, discipline, and self-awareness, and individuals will reevaluate their self-image, personal goals and overall life direction, and even identity. This will present itself to the public and manifest as better care for physical health, refinement of personal ethics, or even strengthening of character. Either way, Saturn will certainly favor quality over quantity and simplicity over chaos. It will reveal serious cracks in our methods and approaches, and define things that are too harsh, while on the other hand there are nuances and layers that need to be considered. Ideally, it is said that we are looking for ways to improve, simplify, quantify, and practice or bring ideas down to earth. Setting limits will only be supportive up to a point. So to be helpful, the gaze must be more attentive to problematic systems, views, and attitudes, but there is always the dilemma or irony of attempts at forced self-acceptance that backfire and ultimately limit progress. There is a fine line with rule-oriented Saturn and independent Aries acting aggressively, and it is up to us to bring the two together in useful, constructive ways. So the more negative expressions of the Aries sign, such as impatience, harshness, and selfishness, are things that will not sit well with us now.